Hello, okay, in this video we're going to be talking about the post widget. And post widget is something that you can apply after you have a few blog posts or maybe a few news posts on your site. And that's why I'm waiting till this video so that I can give you that tutorial. If you want to know how to create a new post and to design uh, the single, the base template for those posts, check out our previous video that I just uploaded a few 2 days ago, more or less. And yeah, once you got that down, and I'm gonna give a link in this video at some point, and you should be able to see it. But anyway, okay, once you have a few posts ready to go, I'm just gonna show you. I have random post 1 and random test post, and I have random test post 2. So, so they're ready to go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this post widget. So I'm gonna click plus again, and I'm just gonna assume I'm gonna use one section and one column. As you can see, again, we have edit section, we have edit column. So, okay, first thing first, I'm gonna do the spacer just to give a little distance between the top header and the actual content. So this should give me enough distance, spacing. So now let's go to the post. So let's click, hold and drag and put it right below underneath it, and give it a few minutes. Oh, maybe it's not pulling up. So let's do this again. So maybe the second time is the charm. As you can see, by default, I already have a featured image setup. I have a random text, as you can see, set up as well. Now, this is what we call a classic skin. So as you can see, and you have two options. Actually, you have classic, you have cards. So basically, it will look like decked cards, as you can see. So it looks a little bit more modern. And you can have full content. So basically, as you can see, it'll give you the content as is. But right now it doesn't have the thumbnail, so because by default the show thumbnail is no, so if I click yes, it will show the thumbnail. And yeah, so that's actually what's going to happen. What I will say is I'm just gonna click no on that. I'm just gonna go to classic for now. So as you can see, it should be about 3 columns. I can actually change this to 2. So as you can see, it gives you a little bit more real estate. So let's say you don't want two columns, you want one. So you can do that too. Yeah, but yeah, it's not looking very flattering at the moment. So what I'm gonna do is, as you can see right here, the image width, I'm just gonna reduce it. Now that's a little bit better, as you can see. So you can actually play around with the way it looks once you get this thing set up. And now, what is image ratio? As you can see, his forehead is a little bit cut off because 0.66 means that the ratio between the width and the height. So the height is 0.66 of the width. So if I change it to 1, let's say if I just do it 1, oh, as you can see, it shows the full frame as is. So basically, in what I mean by, okay, so I stand corrected. So basically, what it means by 0.66 is that in comparison to the original image, so 0.66 of the original image height. So, and this is the actual height. But yeah, so again, usually image size right now it says medium 0 by 0, but usually I leave it as is or I click full. So either way. And I usually prefer full because full seems to be a little bit more detailed. And okay, so now that you have this thing taken care of, you also have an option called post per page. You can choose 6. So basically it will show up to 6 posts before it moves to the next page. But so I'm gonna leave it as is. As a matter of fact, yeah. So and then let's say if I'm, oh yeah, you can also change the image position right now. Right now it says top, but let's say if I want to change it to the right, you can do that too, as you can see. So if you have a lot of text on the left, uh, this can easily fill it up. So if you want to move it to the left, you can do that too, as you can see. So that will be nice and clean. So, but in this case, I'm just gonna put it on top because we just want to kind of stay on course on this tutorial. So now the title H3, which is what I recommend for the Google SEO. Now, excerpt would be what you have here. Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to do that. This area right here will be the excerpt. So what I can do is I can just say no. So as you can see, it will just be the featured image. You got the title and the date and the comments. So, but if you want it, you can click it show again, and then you can determine how many link, in this case 25 words, so to speak, max. So let's say if I just want to do 10 words, as you can see, it kind of minimize the number of words you can have. See, it considered one as a single word, second, 3, 4, 5. So that's what it means. So if I actually were to combine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as a single word, it will definitely show a lot more. But in this case, that's not the case. So anyway, once we get that done, I'm putting it back to 25. So let's say if you don't want the date, let's say you don't want no comment, you can actually just click this. As you can see, it'll come to date, and you can click date, the X on the date to remove it. And you can also have another options, date modify. You can actually do that too. You can. So the difference between the date and the date modified would be, date would be kind of like when you created it, but date modified would be, well, excuse me, the date you modify. I actually recommend you to use this one instead, because date modified is usually more updated than the date of creation, and people look for date modified, meaning that the content is fresh, and people are looking for for instance, right now is 2020, so people want to look for updates, and that's happening in 2020. Excuse me. So I prefer this. But then again, you have other options like author, date, time, and comments, if you like to put them on. Read more will be the button right here. So let's say if you don't want it, it will just disappear. So basically the only way people can go to the actual post is by clicking the actual title. So, but in this case we want it. Now, on the open any new window, basically what happened is when people click the button, usually it will just take them to the new page. But some sites prefer, when people click the button, I'm sorry, not the button, the link, it will take them to that post on a brand new window. So click that if you like that to happen. Again, right now it says click more. I'm just gonna choose it as is. Now, query will be a little bit more advanced. Basically, it will specifically says, what kind of listing do you want to see in this blog post listing. So right now it says post, which is how it should be. So you can actually include by term. Term would be category. So right now I'm just gonna click term, which is category. So let's say right now we don't have any particular category, so I'm just gonna click on categorize. So as you can see, on categorize. So all the posts that are on categorize will be shown on this listing. So if you have a different category, you can, you don't want uncategorized to be on this listing, you can just simply click this, and then, you choose the term, and you choose something like a news, or, events, or, on sale, maybe, if you have periodic sales. So that will be something that you want to consider. And okay, so what we have here will be, date. Do you have any particular date that you want the post to be shown? Maybe you want to isolate, you only want to show the listing of the last week. Let's say you post blog posts every single day. So maybe it is in your best interest to to just show the last 7 blog posts that you make within the last week, within the week that, since today. Excuse me, or the month, or quarter, year, and custom. You can actually do that too. Again, you can order it by date because I created this post first, and this is the second. So that's what the descending is. So if you want to reverse that, and you want the oldest post to be on top, it will be ascending. So, but if you want the latest blog post to be on top, so you want it to be descending. So ignore sticky posts. So if you don't have any sticky posts, you can then click ignore. But if you have specific posts that you want to be sticky, just click no on this one. Now, pagination would be something that will happen if you have a lot of blog posts. So let's say if I click the layout again, and as you can see, you have 6 posts per page. And by the way, you can change it to how many numbers you like, but actually I like to keep it low. I'll say 20 will be the max you want to go, but that's kind of like really pushing it, or even 12. 12 will be ideal, or maybe 10. Excuse me. But I'll say between 6, 8, 10, 12, those kind of number would be good. So let's say you have 50, 60, 70 blog posts just line up. Eventually you'll come across pagination at some point, page 1, page 2, page 3. So you need to set that one up and early. So if you go to pagination, you click, well, right now it doesn't have any, but you can choose numbers. So you can choose, right now it doesn't show anything, by the way, just because, even though it says, because well, we only have 2 blog posts right now. So by the time it reach at certain point, it will show up. Now the page limit will be 5. I won't do that. Actually, I will say, 99999, something like that. And then I'll actually prefer to shorten it, because there'll be at some point in which there'll be way so many pages that you can't show them all. So you sometimes, if you post hundreds of even thousands of blog posts, you'll end up with a lot of pages at the bottom of the list, and you don't want that. You want it to be maybe page 1, 2, 3, and then you see dot 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 or something like that, and then page 89, page 99 or something like that. So alignment would be whether you want the pagination to be somewhere in the center, or you want the pagination to be on the left and on the right. Now, okay, so whenever you're done with this, then you want to go ahead and change the style, because you want it to look good. You want it to have a little bit more pizzazz to it. You can always go to style. You click the column gap. As you can see, you can. Right now, it doesn't have any columns because there's only 1 column. Actually, let me change it to 2 columns just to give a better picture. So, as you can see, now it's 2 columns. So, by having the column gap, as you can see, if I say 3, as you can see, it's touching. It's getting really close. But let's say if I increase it just a little bit, as you can see, it widens the gap. Now, the reason why it seems to be like a huge jump is because this word seems to be really long, so it automatically goes to the second line. But yeah, basically, as you can see, it slowly moves away from that. Can create a little bit more distance. So row gap would be kind of the opposite of the column. Obviously it's row. So let's go back to content, and I'll change it to 1. So as you can see, this is the gap. So I'm gonna go back to style. I'm gonna change the gap again. As you can see, the gap widens quite a bit. So that's something that you want to consider. Excuse me. Again, so if you got box, you can change the border width if you like, border radius, like if you want to have 1, as you can see, it has a automatic one, or even you want to thicken it. So that means every single pose has a little border, but I recommend not to use it because I'm just gonna click delete because I haven't seen any site nowadays using that kind of border. It's not very common. So, and yeah, but let's say if you do decide to have it, let's say you want to do that, you want to change it to a different color. You can actually change it to border color. Let's say you change it to red. See, as you can see, it changes to red. Let's say now it becomes a box, as you can see, and you want the background to be something a little bit different. So what you want to do is you want to go to background color. As you can see, add a little blue. I'm just picking up random colors, as you can see. Excuse me. Something a little bit lighter. Something like that. So now, and let's say you want to keep proceeding with this style. Okay, so what you want to do is padding. As you can see, why do I choose padding? Is because everything is touching and you want to have a little separation. So padding would be, let's say I'm gonna put 20. There you go. As you can see, it has a little bit more separation now. Same thing with this. So let me make it 30. As you can see, it has a little bit more padding. And you can play around with this as well. Let's say if you want the top to be 30, but the right and left to be 50. I'm just gonna, and click this button. So you can change it to 50. This is on the right here. See, the distance becomes widened. Let's choose the left to be 50 as well. As you can see, you can do that too. So this will be 30, this will be 50, this will be 50, this will be 30. But in this case, I'm just gonna change everything to 30. So I'm clicking this link values together button back again. Excuse me. Again, so you can actually choose to have this layout if you want. By the way, border radius is something to smoothen out the edges. So as you can see, the corner is kind of really sharp because, well, it's a box, but you want to smooth it out. You want to make it a little bit more circular. So as you can see, that's exactly what I did. So I added 48 border radius, but it's a little bit too much. So maybe I put 20 or something like that. So as you can see, it's a little bit softened. So if you want to have this kind of look, you can do that too if you like. So excuse me, content padding would be, let's see. Let's say if I put 30. Well, as you can see, this is the content padding. This is the area. So what it means is that the difference between this padding and the content padding only applies to this area. So let's say if I'm gonna go back, I'm just gonna remove this padding altogether as a whole. As you can see, you can have the picture touching it, the corner, but not the actual content. The actual content will have that padding right here. So that's the difference. So, but anyway, I'm gonna put this back on to 30, and I'm gonna remove the content padding for now. So as you can see, so it's all lined up nice and looking good. So anyway, back. So we can do the image now. So as you can see, we have a border radius, which is kind of like what we talked about previously. It will smoothen out the edges on the photo. So let's say if I put 20, as you can see, this photo is a little bit a little smoothen on the edges. If you like, I can make it 10. As you can see, a little bit less. I can make it 40. As you can see, it's a little bit more hardcore, but yeah, you can do that too. And the spacing, I want basically the spacing between the image and the actual content. So as you can see, so but I'm gonna delete this, and it will go back to the default length. And by the way, you have an option between normal and hover. So normal meaning if the mouse is not on top, this is how it's going to look. Let's say on the hover, you want to change the way it looks a little bit. So as you can see, I'm clicking the hover, and then I'm going to go to CSS filter. And now let's say I want to change the saturation. I want to change the hue. as you can see, that's how it looks. Or let's say if I want to blur it too, so as you can see, I blurred it as well. But I don't want to do any of that, so I'm just gonna click that button right here. So let's say if you see that, click that back to default button and click that, and nothing happened as it should. So let's go to the actual content, and as you can see, the color would be the actual title. So this is the title. If you want to change it, I don't know if you want to choose. I'm just gonna pick random color, or this one color. As you can see, it becomes green. And then let's say you want the spacing between the green and the date to be a little bit, further away. So if you can change it a little bit, as you can see, you can increase it. So if you want to have a little bit more distance between the title and anything right underneath it, this will be to do the way to go. Meta would be, would be this area right here, the October 12th, 2020. So let's say if I want to change it to a different color, I can do that too, as you can see. You can even change the typography as well. So let's say if you want it to be a little bit bigger, you can do that too, so as you can see. But in this case, I'm just going to choose 12 or 13, something like that. Excerpt would be what you see here. So if I'm going to click the color, and then I'm going to change it to black, as you can see, that will be the way to go. If you want to make it a little bit tighter. By the way, the spacing between this and that, if you want, you can see, as you can see, you can change it. So, by the way, okay, so you want to change the typography. Maybe you want to have a little distance between the text, like the text seems to be a little tight. So if the text seems to be a little tight between the top and the bottom, and you want to have a little separation between these two lines, so go to line height. So basically excerpt, click this button, go to line height. As you can see, increase it just a little bit. So 2.1, and you can see it gives a little nice distance. So that's that. So anyway, yeah, you can change the spacing as well, because we have a button that is almost invisible at the moment, invincible. Yeah, that's to create the distance between the actual text to read more button link. So I'm gonna change the color because it's too conspicuous, too hidden. So I'm just gonna change it to this color. And people want to be able to see that there's a button that says read more, so I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. So I'm gonna go to style, no, I'm going to go to size, and I'm gonna make it super big, something like that. But then again, you can play around with it if you like. Pagination has its own style, look, and feel, but since we don't have it here because we only have 2 posts, and yeah, but I think by now you should understand how how it works. Basically everything is visual, so when you see it and you don't like the way it looks, you can always change things around. But anyway, this will conclude this tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to leave the comment down below, and don't forget, please consider subscribe, click like, and hit the notification button. So I'll see you guys on the next video.